Darling, I was tap dancing on a tabletop as a waitress soda jerk when in walked Jim Sharman and Richard O'Brien and the musical director Richard Hartley. And Jim took one look at me and he went, "There's your servant." And I got cast on the spot. Are you kidding? I was 19. I'd been in London for about 18 months and from Australia, I'm born from Sydney, Australia. And this was a professional show. I mean, I was ecstatic. It was to be on at the smallest theatre in London, theatre upstairs of the Royal Court. We only it was an empty room that the brilliant set designer Brian Thompson he had to supply the seating for the audience, the sets, the lighting, everything for £500. Anyway, so we only could fit 60 people in it. It was tiny. And remember, always say yes to any proposition. That's my theory. Except, of course, hard drugs. I mean, I just in general, I read once, when you say no to something, immediately you just slam a door shut. So why not say yes and you never know what's going to come of it, you know? So that's one of my ways of living my life. Imagine to be never have been in a professional production in London. I'd done one professional play in Sydney before I left. I was still at drama school. Anyway, so there she was on the page. And I think really I just made her a kind of exaggerated version of myself, very uh flamboyant, I suppose. I mean, when I look at the stills from the theatre production, it is so funny. Overacting, moi. It's just hilarious. And my makeup, my eye makeup, I wore glitter, and the glitter in those days was made of glass. Anyway, we just all had a ball. We only had 3 weeks to rehearse it, and the show was being written as we rehearsed, with songs being added all the time, the script being finessed. And it was such a collective, creative team. Jim Sharman had so much to do with what happened. How, why don't you write a song about this, Richard? Why don't you do one about she needs a song? I mean, oh, I think we should, why don't we start it here? He was brilliant. The whole thing was very different when he first was handed the script, which was 12 pages long. Anyway, and then it just evolved very differently. There was no Brad and Janet original. I mean, there was one of the first songs Richard wrote before he'd written a tiny bit of script, but the science fiction double feature in the song featured a Brad and Janet, and Jim said, "Well, why don't we, make them two characters?" So that's how little it was when it first started. So the fact that we are here 52 years later than when the show opened, 50 years later from the film, is incredible. And the greatest thing of all, of course, is that the film not only means so much to everyone, but it has helped so many people. And that is the greatest, greatest thing. The fans are as many as, they just keep growing, really. And as I say, I meet 3 generations of Rocky Horror fans now. The grandmother from the first, when, her daughter, and the granddaughter, and they're just all mad about it. And I'll tell you what, there's a few reasons, I think. Well, first of all, as I said earlier, it's a celebration of all things heterosexual, bisexual, homosexual, transsexual, and cross-dressing. So that is fantastic. Secondly, what you've so cleverly observed, every type of person is represented. And that is because Jim Sharman, when Jim and Richard were writing the film script, they added the Transylvanians, because originally it was just the main characters in the little stage show. He added the Transylvanians, and he wanted a Transylvanian to represent every type of person. So the audience could identify with one of the characters. How fabulous is that? And I think he succeeded. And so there is that element, plus the songs are great. It's witty script. It's fun. I think my favorite song is Science Fiction Double Feature, but I what would be I mean, the two big moments for me were of course, my verse in Time Warp and my tap dance, and then my dramatic moment in my gym jams coming down the slope of the laboratory going, all you do is take, all that. Oh my God, you've no idea how nervous I was before both those scenes. It's touching, really. Before my time warp moment, I had my tap dancing teacher who choreographed that little tap dance was there on the set, and I was just going over it and over it because we only really had about one take of everything. The film was shot in 5 weeks on a shoestring budget, and Jim brought the film in on time and on what is it? Budget. On time and on budget. Fans, I mean, that's why one of the reasons I do this because this film, because the way it affects people, this film, it's not just, oh, I love, South Pacific or The Sound of Music. It's actually changed their lives. It means a lot for them to meet the cast, even though, of course, I'm, not Columbia. I mean, you know what I mean. But whichever way you shake it, they meet me. It means so much to them, which means so much to me. And I have an instant rapport with cast. And when they tell me their stories of how they were sometimes suicidal or completely feeling isolated, and they didn't, some people, when it took, like what you're saying, it wasn't till they saw the film that they realized that there was anyone that was not like a boring white heterosexual person. It has shown me how you can create something that has a butterfly effect, of a magical butterfly effect that has helped so many people, liberated them, given them acceptance, and they don't dream it and they be it. And that is how I feel about it. And I'm so grateful to be part of it, even though I was just the young tap dancer, you know?